Multi-vector integration is Kazakhstan's chosen course of development. In the program, Single Market.
Every project begins with a search for something. This could be a search for a good business plan, potential investors, and finally, a sales market or one's own potential buyers. Hello, my name is Paul Koktashev, and you're watching Single Market. In today's program, the rules of the game, the Eurasian Economic Union, collective search for raw materials, the school of the market, when corn becomes a valuable product, and coming right up, Navigator, the gas sector.
На сектор газа сегодня влияют те же факторы, что и на рынок.
Today, the gas sector is being affected by the same factors as the oil market. These factors include falling demand on key markets, among which are India, China, and Europe. There is also the rise in supply from the United States, as well as the future entrance onto the international markets by Iran, with its abundant hydrocarbon reserves. Concerning Iran, this country is ranked second in the world in terms of its natural gas reserves, 34 trillion cubic meters. But the country will enter European markets not earlier than in 2 years. Because unlike Russia, Iran does not have the infrastructure necessary for exports. At the moment, Iran supplies about 9 billion cubic meters of gas annually to Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Turkey. For potential exporters, European markets are one of the key destinations for their products, especially considering that there is a high likelihood of Europe making efforts to diversify its gas supplies. There are a couple of reasons behind this. First of all, Azerbaijan and Turkey are collaborating on the TANAP project, in accordance with which gas will be supplied to Europe from the Shah Deniz 2 deposit field. Second of all, if a rapid rise in demand is observed in Asia, this will result in a shortage of gas in Europe. And third of all, in light of the latest events, Gazprom's project, the Turkish Stream, will most likely be shut down. In addition, experts do not exclude the possibility of revival of another Russian project, Northern Stream 2. And some details on the situation of the gas sector within the Eurasian Economic Union. In 2015, Russia's extraction volumes amounted to 635 billion cubic meters. This is lower than in 2014. At the same time, the country's export volumes rose to 159 billion cubic meters. This is on par with the record level it reached in 2013, when Russia supplied 163 billion cubic meters of gas to Europe. In November of last year, Kazakhstan realized 2 symbolic projects, which allowed the country to completely forego imports and at the same time promise a substantial rise in gas exports. This is the construction of the Bayneo-Bozoy site and the sea gas pipeline Kazakhstan-China. By the way, with the completion of construction of the Bayneo-Bozoy section, all of Kazakhstan's cross-country pipelines will be connected into a single gas transport system. And now on the general prospects of Eurasia, they're considered through the concept of formation of the Eurasian Economic Union single gas market. According to experts' assessments, for the countries participating in this integration project, the direct economic benefit from the creation of the single market will amount to $1 billion per year. That's all for today. My name is Alexander Galiev. Until next time on Single Market.
Александр Галиев. До встречи в Single Market.
Сегодня часто можно услышать о проклятии ресурсов.
Today, the curse of resource abundance is often mentioned, but not everything is so clear-cut in this respect. Natural resources can be a blessing if countries possessing them manage them efficiently by investing in their own sustainable growth. And what's more, crises come and go, but the demand for hydrocarbons, metals, and other raw materials is always there. Our correspondent in Minsk continues the story with a report on what the Eurasian Economic Union is planning to do in the sphere of geological exploration.
Геологоразведки.
For the Eurasian Economic Union, overall, export of raw materials is the leading source of revenue for the national budgets. Because today, within the context of instability on the markets of raw materials, it is exactly the time to commence tackling the issue of future development of the resource sectors of the economy. This includes development of the spheres of geological exploration. But within today's economic realities, exploration and exploitation of deposit fields is a luxury. Yet on the other hand, the field of geology has its own specificity, which the countries of the Eurasian Economic Union need to take into account, considering their common interests.
Геология отличается тем, что границы.
The field of geology differs because the borders of geologic structures do not coincide with the borders of countries, but the geologic structures need to be studied within their geologically significant borders.
В их естественной границе.
That is why, considering the territorial borders which have been demarcated by the Eurasian Economic Union integration process, there are plans to implement the new approach in the spheres of geology and subsurface resource management.
В теперешнее непростое время, когда
In today's difficult times, when prices of natural resources are falling, it is necessary to find ways which will allow it to profitably explore and extract mineral resources.
минеральные ресурсы.
The search for these new ways began with the conduct of the first Eurasian Mining and Geological Forum in Minsk, which became a platform for the discussion of the rules of the game, technologies, and realization of joint projects in the sphere of subsurface resource management. During the forum, an idea was voiced on the need for the establishment of a Eurasian Association for the appraisal of subsoil management. What's more, there is already a foundation for its establishment. This year, Russia is implementing new standards for the classification of natural resources, and Kazakhstan is joining the reputable Grisko family. This means that the country will use a more perfected record-keeping system of reserves. In order for investors to have an understanding where and why they're investing, the compiled reports that were done in Kazakhstan must be transparent so that they can invest with confidence. One of the practical steps that were taken by Kazakhstan on increasing transparency in the sphere of geology was the hosting of the first open auction on the transfer of subsoil use rights and related objects using the English method. Out of the 38 auction lots, 28 were for exploration. Unlike Russia and Kazakhstan, Belarus does not have substantial resource reserves. However, the country has significant experience in the field of implementing modern technologies for the development of new deposit fields, and this may become the point of attraction for joint projects.
Мы высоко ценим тот опыт и ту квалификацию и те технологии, которыми располагает белорусская страна.
We highly value the experience and technologies that Belarusian partners have. And for example, on the territories of Western Siberia and the Northwest, we are open for joint projects. We are holding competitions in which the availability of technologies is set as a priority.
Итогов стоят как раз вопросы наличия технологий.
By the way, the countries of the Eurasian Economic Union are already realizing joint projects in the sphere of subsurface management. For example, Russia's oil extraction and ore mining companies are actively operating in Kazakhstan, and the Belarus Oil Corporation provides services to Russia on oil and gas extraction. All the new initiatives which are outlined within the context of Eurasian integration indicate that all the stakes have been set on the sphere of geology of the Eurasian Economic Union, from modern approaches to determining the reserve levels of deposit fields to the use of progressive technologies. This means that great collaborative work awaits specialists engaged in the sphere of geology on the territory of the Eurasian Economic Union. Its aim, lowering potential risks, creation of favorable conditions for cooperation, including cooperation with foreign investors, in order to, in the end, reach efficient results. Dmitry Dvoinev, Minsk, exclusively for Single Market.
Minsk, специально для Single Market.
We're seeing completely new prospects for development. This will no longer entail Kazakhstan and Russia working separately. It will be a powerful geopolitical conglomerate of projects on energy and gas. We're still working using the single gas transport system that was created over 10 years ago, which allows us to pump gas in all directions, to the north, south, west and east. And this is all at our disposal. Today, we're truly on the path of creating a real single gas market, at least within the framework of Eurasian cooperation. The deadlines have been set, and I presume that the signing of an international agreement and creation of the single gas market will depend on how prepared we are for it. If global challenges demand that we adopt these agreements sooner, then it will be so. Of course, the conditions are different in every country, but at the end of the day, when will these documents be signed and what conditions will be created for livelihood, all this depends on the political will of states. I personally am quite optimistic about all this. High value added is not the final aim, but a way to lower risks. For the agricultural industry, this is an optimal option, because its products greatly depend on the seasonal features and the situation on the market of natural resources. Our correspondent Oleg Boldarev studied the experience of an enterprise which processes agricultural raw materials and produces products that are in demand on the market.
Кукурузу можно сравнить с золотым
Corn
слитком.
can be compared with a bar of gold. In terms of its shape and color, it resembles the precious metal. But this is not all. After deprocessing, the price of products produced using corn can be increased manifold. By the way, at the beginning of the 1960s, it was American specialists who informed Nikita Khrushchev, the Soviet leader of that time, of this potential. And with his blessing, corn became the queen of the fields of the USSR. The Panfilov district of the Almaty region is one of Kazakhstan's most favorable territories for the cultivation of this crop. In this region, which borders China, more than half of the entire volume of Kazakhstan's corn is produced.
Казахстан сегодня производит 420.
Today, Kazakhstan produces 420,000 tons of corn. 20,000 tons of this volume is produced in the Almaty region, and 160,000 tons are produced in the city of Jarkent.
Это город Жаркент.
This is the Jarkent starch plant, the largest corn producer in Central Asia. In the 90s, its production capacities were much lower.
У него производительность была по году.
The plant's production capacity was 5,000 tons of processed corn. Therefore, 500 tons of corn per month, and only starch was produced. Overall, we acquired it and revived it.
В общем-то, мы его приобрели, какое-то в чувство его привели.
To say that the plant was revived is an understatement. The plant had to be fully reconstructed and re-equipped. It was only in the year 2002 that it began functioning at full capacity. Today, the processing capacity of the Jarkent starch plant is 195 tons of corn daily. The range of produced goods includes 18 types of products. Majority of them are starch products, up to 50 starch-based items.
Это пищевой крахмал, это технический крахмал, это крахмал для бурения, это модифицированный.
This is food, technical, drilling, modified starch. Thus, there are many types of starch which are used in various fields, from heavy and oil industries to the food industry.
Нефтяной промышленности, кончая пищевой промышленности.
Another basic product which is produced here is molasses. Out of 65 kilograms of starch, 83 kilos of molasses and 52 kilos of glucose are produced. The range of use for these products is quite wide, from confectionery products to beer.
В пивном производстве мы можем до 40-50% заменить.
In our beer production, we can substitute up to 40 to 50% of malt and can also substitute sugar. We can provide a full-fledged concentrate where malt is used, and up to 30% of malt can be substituted for molasses.
До 30% заменить солод на нашу мальтозу.
The deep processing of corn can be used to produce various types of agricultural feed. For example, gluten, the protein of corn grain. It is distinguished by high content of amino acids, methionine and cysteine, which are necessary for the fast development of the chickens. By the way, all the goods produced here are checked for quality at the plant's own laboratories. We conduct all types of analysis of production of starch and molasses, as well as of byproducts. These are germs, gluten, and off-corn. Therefore, we test from the grain to the final product. Today, 65% of the products of the Jarkent starch plant are exported to Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and China. The remaining 35% are delivered to large confectionery and petroleum enterprises of Kazakhstan. The company's plans entail increasing its production capacities fivefold by 2018 and to produce 360,000 tons of products annually. Winter is not a season for plant cultivation. However, precisely now is the time to think about how to reach high added value using traditional agricultural crops. And this enterprise is a classical example of how it is possible to work, grow, and develop in order to be independent of the fluctuating prices of raw materials, and how to conquer not only the domestic market, but also markets abroad. Oleg Boldarev, Didar Isaev, Almaty region, exclusively for Single Market. That's all for today. My name is Pavel Koktashev. Kind reminder, all the episodes of our program are available on www.kazakh-tv.kz. Until next time on Single Market, a territory without borders.